Topping today's news, we hear from Prime Minister Philip Davis on the idea of purchasing the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Bishop Ricardo Grant asked by police to make a statement regarding vote buying in Wednesday's by-election, and the Minister of Education addressing concerns by school lunch vendors over timely payments. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It is a pleasure to have you join us. In recent times, there have been lots of high-level discussions, both private and public, about the role of the Grand Bahama Port Authority and its responsibilities under the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, with the government of the Bahamas challenging the Port Authority to do more to help with the revitalization of Freeport and all of Grand Bahama. In this next report by Chloe DeVoe, we hear Prime Minister Philip Davis talk about the government's willingness to purchase the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
Prime Minister Philip Davis recently addressed the ongoing negotiations regarding the sale of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, stating the government is willing to purchase the Port Authority if they are unable to find a buyer.
The government itself is willing to step to the plate to acquire the port, and we have made that known to the families as well.
The government has long been searching for a private investor for the Port Authority, specifying that they are looking for an investor that is committed to the development and economic growth of Grand Bahama. Prime Minister Davis spoke out about his expectations.
If it's going to be so, it requires government's approval, and we'll approve any arrangement for the sale of the Port Authority once it's going to align with the benefits that we identify that could be had by the Grand Bahamians and the Bahamas in particular.
The government's focus on the sale of the Grand Bahama Port Authority comes after Prime Minister Davis accused the Port Authority of failing to comply with the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. The Port Authority released a statement disputing the government's interpretation of the laws and declining to reimburse them. Despite this exchange, the St. George estate, with 50% interest in the authority, has expressed its willingness to sell. I'm Chloe DeVoe for JCN News.
Thanks for that report, Chloe. Free National Movement is refuting claims that their by-election candidate, Bishop Ricardo Grant, was questioned by police in regard to the Bimini man who was arrested for allegedly soliciting votes for the F&M with $50,000. On Thursday, individuals on social media and radio talk shows claimed that Mr. Grant was taken into custody and questioned for hours by police in relation to the matter. In a statement late Thursday, the F&M said Bishop Grant was not questioned by the police. Rather, he was asked to provide a statement. Bishop Grant confirmed that he neither knew the individual in question nor had any involvement in the activities shown in the video. The statement continues that while Bishop Grant and the F&M trust the police to investigate and address the situation properly, attempts to falsely question Bishop Grant's character through false or negligent reporting are regrettable. It said Bishop Grant will continue to serve and focus on the people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini with the full support of the Free National Movement. The F&M said they will refrain from further comments regarding the police investigation. The Ministry of Education's school lunch program facing some backlash from lunch vendors this week. A source who wishes to remain anonymous expressed her disappointment to JCN News reporters this week, stating that they are taking money out of their own pockets to pay for the lunch program and that they are not being paid properly, nor do they receive reimbursement. JCN reached out to Education Officer Benita Adderley, who declined to comment at the time. However, on Thursday, we were able to catch up with the Minister of Education, Glennis Hannah Martin, and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Lorraine Ambrista, who says they are aware of the issues and are working diligently to alleviate the problems.
Caterers are being paid. In fact, the director sent me an update just a moment ago. The vast majority of them have been paid. There are a couple that are still being dealt with, but the vast majority of caterers have been paid.
Mrs. Hannah Martin also addressed creating a plan to better pay anyone that is working under the ministry.
We're seeking to devise a methodology. I've spoken with the Permanent Secretary at length with this to ensure more efficient payment of these vendors and whoever is owed monies, that the ministry is able to do it efficiently. It's a very large ministry. It's all over the nation. The systems are manual, But we've been discussing how we can avoid gaps like this.
Mrs. Hannah Martin concluded her statement by expressing her gratitude to the lunch vendors.
And we're grateful to the vendors for holding the fort for us during that time. But we're hoping that in the very near future, we will not have this kind of conversation about lunch vending or anything else in the Ministry of Education.
That was Minister of Education Glenys Hannah Martin addressing concerns of school lunch vendors being paid on time. On Thursday, the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute also partnered with Super Club's Breezes to manufacture uniforms for Breezes staff members. Interim President at BTVI, Dr. Linda Davis, expressed the Institute's excitement with the proposal.
We're even more pleased today that a contract was signed to solidify that undertaking. It is truly a proud BTVI day. Led by a very talented head of department and international fashion designer, April Burrows, with the assistance of instructor and master tailor, John Lewis. This initiative allows for local talent, inclusive of our other renowned fashion design instructors whom I would have mentioned, our students and alumni, to design and create uniforms for Breezes staff.
Minister of Education Glenys Hannah Martin thanked the Managing Director of Breezes for investing in the students of BTVI.
Sincerely thanking Ms. Issa, because as a small island developing state, we know that for us to progress and to make things happen, it has to be purposeful and deliberate. And as a corporate partner in this nation, she and her company have made a decision that their investment in this country goes deeper than what you see is what you get, but down to the roots of our nation. And this collaboration with BTVI is the roots. It's where our young people are coming to this institution, they're learning skills, they're developing their talents.
The media also got a tour of the fashion department, where we had a chance to speak with fashion designer and head of the fashion department, April Burrows. Ms. Burrows expresses how delighted she is that Breezes not only acknowledge them, but are endorsing them as well.
We're very delighted. We're delighted to know that Breezes has acknowledged our talent in this department and also endorsed us and supported us by just bringing this to the table. And so students have an opportunity to get a feel for what it is to manufacture garments. And so they're excited, they're ready to get started, and we are too.
BTVI will manufacture uniforms for Breezes line staff, including waiters and waitresses, bartenders, pool and beach attendants, maids, and front desk personnel, among the others. And finally, in this segment, the Utilities Regulations and Competition Authority, URCA, is seeking to establish new guidelines for compliance inspections of electricity suppliers throughout the Bahamas. URCA said this is crucial to improving the quality and reliability of power generation, transmission, distribution, and supply throughout the islands. Under the guidelines, URCA proposes 3 types of inspections: annual safety and licensee compliance inspections and environmental inspections every 3 years. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.